A dying black female cop met a Korean mafia boss. The outcome shocked the city. A dying black female cop lay bleeding in a dark alley, abandoned by the very people sworn to protect her. Then he appeared, a Korean mafia boss walking alone through the shadows. Their eyes met. His hand moved to his phone. One call could save her. One call could destroy everything he'd built. What he did next would shock an entire city and expose a conspiracy that reached the highest levels of power. Hit that subscribe button right now. These stories don't tell themselves, and your support keeps voices like Nora's alive. Now, let's dive in. Lee Jun-soo was not having a good day. The kind of day where everything that could go wrong did. 2 shipments intercepted at the port, a rival Korean gang making moves on his territory in Koreatown. His most trusted lieutenant questioning his decisions in front of the younger members, and to top it all off, a splitting headache that felt like his skull was about to crack open. He needed air, space, a moment away from the constant pressure of being the man everyone feared and depended on. So he did something he rarely did. He walked alone. No bodyguards, no driver, no entourage. Just Lee Jun-soo in the empty streets of the industrial district at 11 p.m. The cool night air hit his face as he moved through the shadows, hands deep in his coat pockets. This part of town was quiet. Too quiet for most people, but Jun-soo liked it that way. No noise, no demands, just the sound of his footsteps echoing off brick walls. Then he heard something faint, desperate, a sound that made his trained instincts snap to attention. Shallow gasps. Like someone struggling to breathe. Jun-soo stopped, his body going rigid. Every nerve in his body told him to keep walking. To mind his own business. He'd built his empire on one rule: never get involved with law enforcement. Never. Cops meant trouble, questions, investigations, the kind of attention that could destroy everything he'd worked for. But the gasping got weaker, more desperate, and Jun-soo found his feet moving before his brain could stop them. He turned the corner into a narrow alley, and that's when he saw her. A black woman in a police uniform slumped against a dumpster like a discarded rag doll. Her face was pale. Too pale against her dark skin. Blood pooled beneath her, dark and spreading. Her eyes were half closed, her breathing shallow and ragged. She'd been beaten badly. Her uniform was torn in places. Her badge hung crooked on her chest, and her hand was pressed weakly against her side where blood seeped through her fingers. Jun-soo's jaw clenched. He should walk away, should pretend he never saw this. Cops died all the time in this city. It wasn't his problem. Wasn't his responsibility, but something about the way she looked, so broken, so alone, made him hesitate. He'd made a vow years ago, never involve himself in police matters. It was how he stayed out of prison, how he kept his operations clean, how he protected his people. Getting mixed up with a dying cop was asking for trouble, begging for it. The woman's eyes flickered, her lips moved. Help. The word came out barely a whisper, so weak Jun-soo almost missed it. Her head tilted toward him, and for a split second their eyes met. She wasn't begging, wasn't pleading, just looking at him with the kind of acceptance that said she knew she was dying, that she'd made peace with it, and somehow that made it worse. Jun-soo cursed under his breath in Korean, loud, sharp, angry at himself for even hesitating. He pulled out his phone, his thumb hovering over the emergency dial. One call, anonymous. Then he could disappear before anyone arrived. Simple, clean. But as he looked at the woman again, something inside him shifted. She wasn't just a cop. She was someone's daughter, maybe someone's sister, someone who'd probably spent her whole life trying to do the right thing in a city that punished people for it, just like he'd been punished for trying to survive in a world that gave him no other choice. Damn it. Jun-soo shoved his phone back in his pocket and moved closer. He knelt beside her, his expensive Italian shoes soaking in her blood. The smell hit him immediately, metallic, sharp, the smell of someone who didn't have much time left. Hey, Jun-soo said, his voice rough with his Korean accent. Can you hear me? The woman's eyes opened wider. Fear flashed across her face when she saw who was kneeling beside her. Even half dead, she recognized him. Lee Jun-soo, the most dangerous Korean in the city, boss of the Baeko syndicate, the man the police had been trying to bring down for years. No, she gasped, trying to pull away. Her hand reached weakly for her empty holster. Her weapon was gone, probably taken by whoever did this to her. Relax, Jun-soo said sharply. I'm not here to finish the job. The woman's breathing got more erratic, panic mixing with pain. You're Lee Jun-soo. Jun-soo's expression didn't change. Yeah, and you're dying. So unless you want your last moments to be bleeding out in an alley, you're going to let me help you. She tried to shake her head, but the movement made her wince. Blood bubbled at the corner of her mouth. Can't, she choked out. Can't trust you. Junsu laughed bitterly. Lady, if I wanted you dead, you'd already be dead. I've got better things to do than watch a cop bleed out. He pressed his hand over hers, applying pressure to the wound in her side. She gasped in pain, her body going rigid. Who did this to you? Junsu demanded. Who? Her eyes filled with tears, not from pain, from something darker. My own partner. The words hit Junsu like a punch. What? Set me up, she whispered, her voice breaking. Dirty cops. Been investigating them. They found out. Tried to silence me. Junsu's mind raced. A cop investigating corruption set up by her own people, left to die in an alley. This wasn't just an attack. This was an execution, and whoever ordered it had connections, power enough to make a police officer disappear without questions. How many others? Junsu asked urgently. How many cops are involved? She tried to answer, but her eyes started rolling back. No. Junsu grabbed her face, forcing her to focus on him. Stay with me. You don't get to die yet. Not until you tell me who did this. Names. I need names. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Her body was shutting down. Junsu looked around the empty alley. No witnesses, no cameras, just him and a dying cop who'd been betrayed by the people sworn to protect her. He had two choices. Walk away. Pretend this never happened. Keep his vow to stay away from police business, protect his empire, protect his people, or break that vow. Risk everything, and save someone who'd probably spent her entire career trying to put men like him behind bars. Junsu closed his eyes. Thought of all the reasons he should leave, all the ways this could destroy him. Then he thought of something else. His younger sister, Minji, dead at 17 because dirty cops on someone's payroll looked the other way when she was trafficked by a gang operating in their precinct, because corruption protected the criminals who destroyed her, because nobody with power gave a damn about one Korean girl from the streets. Junsu's eyes snapped open, rage burning through him like fire. He scooped the woman into his arms. She was light, too light. Her head lolled against his chest, her breathing barely there. You're not dying tonight, Junsu said through clenched teeth. Not like this. Not because some dirty cops decided you were expendable. He carried her out of the alley, his mind already calculating his next moves. He couldn't take her to a hospital. Too many questions. Too much attention. But he knew someone. A doctor who owed him. Who didn't ask questions. Who could keep her alive long enough to get answers. As Junsu moved through the empty streets, the woman's hand suddenly gripped his jacket. Her eyes opened one more time. Why? She whispered. Why are you helping me? Junsu didn't answer right away. Then he said quietly, because someone should have helped my sister, and nobody did. The woman's eyes closed again. But her grip on his jacket tightened just slightly, like maybe, just maybe, she understood. Junsu pulled out his phone with one hand, still carrying her with the other. He dialed the number. Taemin, I need Dr. Park at the safe house on 8th. Now. I don't care if he's sleeping. Wake him. This is code red. He hung up before his lieutenant could ask questions. Junsu looked down at the woman in his arms. Her face was ghostly pale against her dark skin, her pulse weak beneath his fingers. He'd just broken his most important rule, and he had no idea what consequences were coming. But as he carried a dying black cop through the shadows of the city he ruled, Lee Junsu realized something. Some rules were meant to be broken, and tonight he was about to find out if saving one life would cost him everything. If this story is hitting different, show it some love. Subscribe and drop a comment. These narratives need witnesses. Let's keep going. The safe house on 8th Street looked like any other abandoned warehouse from the outside. Rusted metal doors, broken windows covered with plywood, graffiti tags spray-painted across brick walls. But Junsu knew better. Behind those doors was a fully equipped medical facility, state-of-the-art equipment, surgical lights, monitoring systems, everything needed to treat injuries that couldn't be explained in a hospital. He kicked the door open, still carrying the dying cop in his arms. Her breathing had gotten even weaker. Her skin felt like ice against his chest. Taemin was already there, pacing like a caged animal. His eyes went wide when he saw what Junsu was carrying. Boss? What the— Is the doctor here? Junsu interrupted, his voice like steel. Taemin nodded frantically. Yeah, but boss, that's a cop. You brought a cop to our safe house. Are you out of your... I said, is the doctor here? Junsu's tone left no room for argument. Dr. Park appeared from the back room, medical bag already in hand. He was in his 60s, gray hair, steady hands, and the kind of face that had seen too much to be shocked by anything. But even he paused when he saw the police uniform. Mr. Lee, Park said carefully in Korean, then switched to English. This is... complicated. She's dying, Junsu said flatly. Fix her. Now. Park looked at Taemin, then back at Junsu. If she dies here, if anyone finds out, we'll handle the consequences. Junsu interrupted. Right now, she needs surgery. So either you operate, or I find someone who will. Park didn't argue further. He'd been in Junsu's debt for years, a gambling problem that would have gotten him killed if Junsu hadn't intervened. Now he paid that debt in blood and silence. Get her on the table, Park commanded, snapping into professional mode. Junsu laid the woman down on the steel surgical table. Under the bright lights, she looked even worse. Bruises covered her face, dark purple against her brown skin. Deep gashes on her arms and the wound in her side, dark and oozing. Park cut away her uniform, exposing the full extent of the damage. 3 broken ribs, punctured lung, internal bleeding. He worked quickly, his hands moving with practiced precision, inserting IVs, hooking up monitors, preparing surgical instruments. Taemin pulled Junsu aside, his voice low and urgent. Boss, you need to think about this. She's a cop. When she wakes up, she's going to ask questions. And when the police realize she's missing, they're going to come looking. Let them look, Junsu said coldly. But boss, this isn't up for discussion, Taemin. Junsu's eyes were hard as diamonds. She was left to die by her own people, cops who are supposed to protect and serve. If that doesn't make you sick, then you're not the man I thought you were. Taemin went quiet. He'd known Junsu for 15 years, had seen him make brutal decisions without hesitation, had watched him build an empire through force and fear. But he'd never seen this look in Junsu's eyes, this rage, this sense of purpose that went beyond business. What aren't you telling me? Taemin asked carefully. What's really going on here? Junsu was silent for a long moment. Then he said quietly, she was investigating dirty cops. Her own partner set her up, left her to bleed out because she was getting too close to the truth. Taemin's expression shifted, understanding dawning. And you think those same dirty cops might be connected to us? To our operations? Junsu nodded slowly. Think about it, Taemin. How many times have we paid off cops? How many times have shipments gotten through because someone in a uniform looked the other way? What if the people we've been paying are the same ones who tried to kill her? The implications hit Taemin like a truck. If that was true, if the corruption went that deep, then they weren't just dealing with one dying cop. They were sitting on a conspiracy that could bring down half the police force and expose every criminal organization that had been paying for protection, including theirs. We need to know what she knows, Taemin said urgently, who she was investigating, what she found, and we need to know it before she wakes up and realizes she's in the hands of the Baeko Syndicate. Junsu looked through the glass partition at Dr. Park working frantically to save the woman's life. I'll handle it. You focus on making sure nobody followed us here. Double the guards. Nobody gets in or out without my permission. Taemin nodded and pulled out his phone, already making calls. Junsu stood alone, watching the surgery through the glass. His mind was racing. 20 minutes later, Park emerged, peeling off blood-soaked gloves. She's stable, Park said, exhaustion clear in his voice. For now, but she lost a lot of blood. The next 24 hours are critical. Will she wake up? Junsu asked. Eventually, Park replied. But when she does, she's going to be in significant pain. I can manage that, but Mr. Lee, she's going to need answers. She's going to want to know where she is, who saved her, why. Tell her the truth. Junsu said simply. Park's eyebrows shot up. The truth? That Lee Junsu, the man she's probably been trying to arrest for years, carried her out of an alley and saved her life? Junsu's expression didn't change. Yeah, exactly that. Because if she's investigating corrupt cops, then she needs to know that not everyone in this city is what they seem. Park shook his head slowly, muttering under his breath in Korean. You're playing a dangerous game, Mr. Lee. Junsu walked past him into the recovery room where the woman lay unconscious. Tubes ran from her arms. Monitors beeped steadily. Her face was clean now, the blood washed away. She looked younger than he'd thought, maybe late 20s, early 30s. Her natural hair was pulled back from her face, and even unconscious, there was something fierce about her, something that refused to quit. Junsu pulled a chair close to the bed and sat down. He didn't know why, didn't understand the pull he felt, but he stayed there, watching her breathe, making sure she kept breathing. Hours passed in silence. Taemin came in twice to update him on security measures. Park checked her vitals repeatedly, but Junsu didn't move. Finally, as dawn light started filtering through the warehouse cracks, the woman's eyes fluttered. Her hand twitched. A soft groan escaped her lips. Junsu leaned forward. "Can you hear me?" Her eyes opened slowly, unfocused at first, then sharp, alert, taking in her surroundings with trained observation. "Where?" she croaked, her voice barely audible. "Where am I?" "Safe house," Junsu said honestly. "You were dying. I brought you here." Her eyes found his face. Recognition flashed immediately, followed by confusion, then anger. "You?" She tried to sit up, gasping in pain. The monitors started beeping louder. "Don't move," Junsu said firmly. "You just had surgery. Your lung was collapsed, 3 ribs broken, internal bleeding. You're lucky to be alive." She stared at him with suspicion and fear. "Why would you save me? Why would Lee Junsu give a damn if a cop lives or dies?" "Because your own people left you to die," Junsu said bluntly. "And I don't like watching anyone get executed in an alley, even cops." Her face went pale, not from pain, from memory. "My partner," she whispered. "Mitchell. He shot me, left me there, said I should have minded my own business." Junsu's jaw clenched. "What were you investigating?" The woman's eyes filled with tears, not weakness, fury. "Corruption, payoffs. Evidence of cops taking money from dealers, from organized crime, from people like you." Junsu didn't flinch. "And you got too close." She nodded weakly. "I had names, dates, transaction records. I was going to turn it all in. That's when Mitchell found out. He and 3 other officers cornered me after my shift, beat me, shot me, told me I was a liability." Her voice broke. "They left me to die like garbage." Junsu stood up slowly. "Those names you collected. Do you remember them?" She looked at him warily. "Why?" "Because if those cops are dirty enough to kill one of their own, they're dirty enough to be on multiple payrolls, including mine, and I want to know who I've been doing business with." The woman's expression shifted, understanding dawning. "You think the cops you paid off are the same ones who tried to kill me?" "I know they are," Junsu said coldly, "because this city isn't big enough for multiple corruption rings. If you were investigating payoffs, you were investigating my operations, whether you knew it or not." She processed this, then said quietly, "So what now? You keep me here. Use me as leverage. Kill me before I can talk?" Junsu leaned closer, his voice intense. "Now you heal. You get your strength back. And then you and I are going to do something neither of us ever thought possible." Her eyes narrowed. "What?" "We're going to take down every dirty cop in this city," Junsu said with absolute certainty. "Together." The woman laughed, a bitter, painful sound. "You're insane. You're a criminal. I'm a cop. We're on opposite sides." "Are we?" Junsu challenged. "Because from where I'm standing, your side just tried to murder you, and my side just saved your life. So maybe it's time to stop thinking about sides and start thinking about what's right." She stared at him, conflict clear on her face. Then she asked the question that changed everything. "What's your name?" "Lee Junsu." "No," she said softly. "Your real name. Not the legend, not the reputation. Who are you?" Junsu was silent. Nobody had asked him that in years. Finally, he said quietly, "A man who's tired of watching this city eat people alive, just like you are." Her expression softened just slightly. "My name is Nora. Detective Nora Wallace." Junsu nodded. "Well, Detective Wallace, welcome to the only place in this city where corrupt cops can't touch you." She looked around the medical facility, the equipment, the security, the reality of where she was. "I should hate you. I've spent 3 years trying to build a case against your organization." "I know," Junsu said simply, "and when this is over, you can go back to that. But right now, we have a common enemy, cops who think they're above the law, who think they can kill without consequences. And I don't know about you, but I'm done letting them get away with it." Nora was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something that shocked even herself. Okay. Junsu repeated, surprised. She met his eyes with determination. "I'll work with you. Temporarily." to expose the corruption, to bring down Mitchell and everyone involved. But Lee, when this is done, when the dirty cops are in prison, you and I go back to being enemies. Understood? Junsu smiled grimly. Understood. He extended his hand. She looked at it, then slowly, painfully, reached out and shook it. And in that moment, in that abandoned warehouse-turned-medical facility, the most unlikely alliance in the city's history was born. A Korean mafia boss and a dying black cop united by betrayal, fueled by rage, and determined to burn down the corruption that had nearly destroyed them both. This alliance is about to shake the entire city. If you're invested, hit subscribe. You'll want to see how this ends. Now back to the story. 3 days later, Nora was strong enough to walk with assistance, strong enough to demand answers, and Junsu was ready to give them to her. The warehouse had become her prison and sanctuary. She couldn't leave. Not yet. Not while every cop in the city was searching for her. Junsu had his people monitoring police frequencies. What they heard made his blood run cold. Detective Nora Wallace, missing, presumed dead. Memorial service being planned. Badge number retired. Case closed. Just like that. No investigation into who killed her. No questions about the ambush. Just a quiet burial of the truth. Convenient. Too convenient. Nora stood by the window, staring at the city she'd sworn to protect, the city that had betrayed her. Her ribs still ached, her breathing was shallow, but the fire in her eyes burned brighter than ever. They're not even looking for me, she said bitterly. 3 years on the force, commendations, awards, and they've already written me off. That's because they want you dead, Junsu said, standing behind her, arms crossed. Finding you alive complicates their story, raises questions, exposes lies. Nora turned to face him. So what's your plan? Because I know you didn't save me out of the goodness of your heart. You want something. Junsu didn't deny it. I want names. Every dirty cop on your list. Every payoff you documented. Every connection you found. She laughed harshly. And then what? You eliminate them? Add more bodies to your empire? That's not justice, Lee. That's revenge. Junsu's eyes went hard. You think I built this empire on revenge? I built it on survival. On protecting people the system failed. People like my sister. People like you. Nora's expression shifted. Your sister? Junsu was silent for a moment. Then he spoke, his voice rough with old pain. Minji, 17 years old, trafficked by a gang operating 3 blocks from a police station. You know why that gang was never arrested? Nora waited, her chest tightening. Because they were paying cops for protection, Junsu said flatly. 3,000 a month split between 5 officers. My sister died because those cops valued money over lives. So don't lecture me about justice, detective. I know exactly what the system protects, and it's not people like us. Nora was quiet, processing. Then she said softly, I'm sorry about your sister. Junsu turned away. Don't be. Just help me make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. The door burst open. Taemin rushed in, his face pale. Boss, we've got a problem. What kind? Junsu demanded. The kind that involves Mitchell and 6 other cops surrounding this building. Nora's blood went cold. They found me. How? Taemin shook his head. Don't know, but they're not here officially. No backup, no patrol cars, just 7 dirty cops with weapons and bad intentions. Junsu's mind raced. They'd been careful. No phone calls, no digital trails. Someone must have talked, or worse, someone had been watching. Get her to the basement, Junsu commanded. Taemin, take 3 men, protect her with your life. What about you? Nora asked, alarm in her voice. Junsu pulled a handgun from his waistband, checked the clip. I'm going to have a conversation with your former colleagues. You can't fight them, Nora said urgently. They'll kill you. Then they'll storm in here and finish what they started. Junsu smiled coldly. Detective, I've been fighting dirty cops since I was 16. They don't scare me. Taemin grabbed Nora's arm. Come on, we need to move. Nora resisted. Wait. She looked at Junsu. If you kill them, if you add more bodies, you're proving everything they say about you. That you're a monster, that you're the enemy. Junsu met her eyes. Maybe I am, but I'm a monster who saves people. What are they? Nora had no answer. Taemin pulled her toward the basement access. She went reluctantly, looking back at Junsu one last time. Outside, Mitchell and his crew moved like shadows, professional, coordinated, weapons drawn. Mitchell was in his 40s, thick build, cold eyes, the kind of cop who'd stopped believing in justice years ago. If she survived, she's in there, Mitchell said to his team. Find her, kill her, and anyone who helped her. One of the younger cops hesitated. Mitchell, maybe we should. Maybe what? Mitchell snapped. Call for backup? Explain why we're executing a fellow officer. She knows too much. She has evidence. If she talks, we all go to prison. So we end this tonight. They approached the warehouse entrance. Mitchell tested the door. Locked. He signaled to one of his men, breaching charge, but before they could plant it, the door swung open. Junsu stood in the doorway, unarmed, calm, hands visible at his sides. Gentlemen, Junsu said with dangerous politeness, his Korean accent thick. Can I help you? Mitchell's gun came up immediately. Lee Junsu, step aside. We have reason to believe you're harboring a fugitive. Junsu smiled coldly. A fugitive? You mean the cop you left to die in an alley? Mitchell's expression didn't change, but his eyes flickered dangerously. I don't know what you're talking about. Junsu leaned against the doorframe, completely relaxed despite the 6 guns aimed at his chest. Detective Nora Wallace, shot by her partner, left to bleed out, except she didn't die. Unfortunate for you. Mitchell's finger moved to the trigger. Where is she? Junsu's smile widened. Somewhere you'll never reach. But here's what's going to happen. You're going to lower your weapons, leave my property, and pray I don't decide to make your corruption public. Mitchell laughed. You're threatening us? We're the law, Lee. We can walk in there right now and nobody will question it. Junsu's expression went icy cold. You're not the law. You're criminals wearing badges. And the difference between you and me, I don't pretend to be something I'm not. The younger cop spoke up nervously. Mitchell, maybe we should… Shut up, Mitchell snarled. Then to Junsu. Last chance. Hand over Wallace or we come in shooting. Junsu didn't move. Then you better make your first shot count because you won't get a second. Mitchell's face went red with rage. He raised his weapon. That's when the rooftops lit up. 20 men, all armed, all with laser sights pointed at Mitchell and his crew. Junsu's people positioned for exactly this scenario. Mitchell froze. His team looked around in panic, red dots dancing across their chests. You were saying? Junsu asked calmly. Something about coming and shooting? Mitchell's voice shook with barely controlled fury. You're making a mistake, Lee. A big one. We have friends, connections. You can't fight the entire police force. Junsu stepped forward. I'm not fighting the entire force, just the corrupt parts. And Detective Wallace has everything. Names, dates, bank records, every payoff you've taken, every dealer you've protected, every law you've broken. She was going to expose you 3 days ago. Now she has my resources, my protection, and my motivation to see you all destroyed. Mitchell's hands trembled. You're bluffing. Try me, Junsu said softly. Walk away right now, and you might survive the week. Come into my property, threaten my people, and I promise you'll be in prison before dawn, or worse. The standoff held for 10 agonizing seconds. Finally, Mitchell lowered his weapon. His team followed suit. This isn't over, Mitchell said through clenched teeth. Agreed, Junsu replied. It's just beginning. Mitchell and his crew backed away slowly, never taking their eyes off the rooftops, never lowering their guard. When they finally disappeared into the night, Junsu's shoulders relaxed slightly. Taemin emerged from the basement with Nora. She looked shocked. You just threatened 7 armed cops. Do you have a death wish? Junsu holstered his weapon. I have a strategy. There's a difference. What strategy? Nora demanded. You just made yourself a target. They'll come back with more people, more weapons. They'll destroy you. Junsu turned to face her. Let them try. Because here's what they don't know. I've been recording everything. Every payoff they took from my organization, every transaction, every meeting. I have proof that connects them to dealers, traffickers, murderers. Nora's eyes went wide. You've been documenting them, just like I was? Junsu nodded. The difference is I have the resources to protect my evidence, to distribute it if something happens to me. Mitchell and his crew, they're not just fighting one detective anymore. They're fighting an entire network. Nora sat down heavily, processing this. Why? Why would you collect evidence against people you were paying? Junsu's expression was grim. Because I learned a long time ago, never trust anyone you can't destroy. Those cops weren't partners. They were liabilities waiting to happen, and now they're exposed. Nora looked at him with new understanding. You're not just a criminal, you're a strategist. Junsu smiled without humor. In my world, there's no difference. You strategize or you die. Nora stood up slowly, her ribs aching. So what's the plan? We can't stay here. Mitchell will be back with reinforcements. We need to move before. She stopped abruptly, her eyes going to the window. Junsu followed her gaze. Outside, the street was filling with police cars, not just 7 dirty cops, 20 vehicles, 40 officers, surrounding the warehouse. Taemin cursed loudly in Korean. Boss, we're surrounded. Junsu's jaw clenched. He'd miscalculated. Mitchell hadn't retreated. He'd called for backup. And now they were trapped. Nora's face went pale. They're going to storm the building, kill everyone inside, blame it on a shootout. Junsu pulled out his phone, made a call. I need everything, right now. He hung up and looked at Nora. How much do you trust me? Not at all, Nora said honestly. Good, Junsu replied. Because what I'm about to do will either save both our lives or get us both killed. And I need you to follow my lead without questioning it. Nora looked at the police force gathering outside, at the men on the rooftops, at Junsu's crew preparing for war. Then she made a decision that would change everything. Okay, I trust you. Junsu's expression shifted, something like respect in his eyes. Then let's give them a show they'll never forget. He grabbed a megaphone, stepped out onto the warehouse catwalk where everyone could see him, and spoke words that would echo through the entire city. My name is Lee Junsu, and I'm here to expose the biggest corruption scandal in this city's history. Every cop down there with a badge, ask yourselves, do you know who you're working with? Because some of your brothers aren't here to uphold the law. They're here to bury it. Nora stepped beside him, visible to everyone, alive, breathing, proof that Mitchell had lied. Detective Nora Wallace, Junsu continued, alive, despite the efforts of corrupt officers who tried to execute her for investigating their crimes. The crowd stirred, confusion spreading through the ranks. Mitchell's voice came over a loudspeaker. Don't listen to him. He's a criminal. He's lying. Junsu pulled out a USB drive, held it high. This contains proof, bank records, recordings, evidence of 15 police officers taking payoffs from dealers and criminals, including the man giving you orders right now, Officer Mitchell. The night erupted into chaos. Some cops looked at Mitchell with shock. Others with suspicion, the clean cops suddenly realizing they were standing beside the corrupt ones. And in that moment of confusion, of division, of truth crashing into lies, the warehouse courtyard became a battlefield of loyalty and betrayal, cops staring at other cops, hands hovering near weapons, trust shattering like glass. This is the moment everything changes. Don't miss what happens next. Subscribe and stay locked in. We're just getting started. Mitchell's face went crimson with rage. He's lying. That evidence is fabricated. Lee is trying to save his own skin by destroying ours. Don't listen to. Then let's verify it, a voice called from the crowd. Captain Helen Morrison pushed through the assembled officers. She was 50, steel, gray hair, 28 years on the force, and a reputation for being incorruptible. She looked up at Junsu with hard eyes. Lee, you're claiming to have proof of police corruption? Junsu held up the USB drive. 15 officers, 3 years of documented payoffs, names, dates, bank transfers, all verified by Detective Wallace before she was nearly murdered by one of your own. Morrison's eyes shifted to Nora, her expression unreadable. Wallace, you're alive. Yes, ma'am. Nora called down, her voice stronger now. And everything Lee said is true. Mitchell and 6 others tried to execute me 3 days ago because I discovered they were taking money from dealers and organized crime. Morrison's jaw clenched. That's a serious accusation, Detective. I know, Nora replied. That's why I have 3 years of evidence to back it up. Mitchell's hand moved toward his weapon. This is insane, Morrison. Don't let them manipulate. Hands where I can see them, Mitchell. Morrison's voice cracked like a whip. Now. Mitchell froze. Around him, his crew of dirty cops looked panicked. Some started backing toward their vehicles. Morrison's voice rose louder. Nobody moves. If what Detective Wallace says is true, then we have a cancer in this department. And I will cut it out, regardless of who it implicates. She looked back at Junsu. Lee, I want that evidence. And I want it verified by independent investigators. Not your people, not mine. Federal. Junsu nodded slowly. Agreed, on one condition. Morrison's eyes narrowed. You're not in a position to make conditions. Junsu's voice was steel. I am, when that evidence also implicates 3 city councilmen, 2 judges, and a deputy mayor. You want to clean up this city? Then we do it right. Federal investigation, full immunity for Wallace, and protection for both of us until every corrupt official is in custody. Morrison was silent for a long moment. Then she spoke into her radio. This is Captain Morrison. I need FBI liaison immediately. Federal investigation into departmental corruption, and I need internal affairs to secure Mitchell and his unit. Mitchell's face went white. You're making a mistake, Helen. A career-ending mistake. The only mistake I made, Morrison said coldly, was not listening when good officers like Wallace tried to report corruption. That ends tonight. IA officers moved forward, weapons drawn, surrounding Mitchell and his crew. One of the younger dirty cops panicked, raised his weapon. Don't! Nora screamed from the catwalk, but it was too late. The shot rang out. Chaos exploded. Officers diving for cover. Return fire from Junsu's men on the rooftops. Civilians in nearby buildings screaming. Junsu grabbed Nora and pulled her back inside the warehouse. Move, now. They ran through the corridor as bullets shattered windows. Taemin met them at the stairs. Boss, we've got 3 exits. East side is clear. Junsu shook his head. We're not running. Not anymore. He turned to Nora. That evidence you collected. Where's the original? Nora's eyes went wide. In my apartment, hidden in the ventilation system. Nobody knows it's there. Junsu grabbed his phone. Taemin, I need a team at Detective Wallace's apartment. West Side, Unit 4B. Retrieve a package hidden in the vent system. Bring it here immediately. Taemin's voice came back. Boss, that's across town. We need to get through roadblocks. Do it, Junsu commanded. This is everything. Nora grabbed his arm. Wait, if they find that evidence first, if Mitchell has people watching my apartment, they don't, Junsu said with certainty, because they think you're dead. They think the evidence died with you. That's our advantage. Outside, the gunfire stopped. Morrison's voice came over a megaphone. Ceasefire. Everyone stand down. Slowly, the chaos settled. The dirty cop who'd fired the first shot was on the ground, wounded but alive. IA officers had Mitchell and his crew in handcuffs. Morrison looked up at the warehouse. Lee, Wallace, we need to talk, face to face. Junsu looked at Nora. Your call, detective. Do we trust her? Nora thought about Morrison, her reputation, her history. Then she nodded. She's one of the good ones. If anyone can help us, it's her. They descended to the courtyard. Morrison stood waiting, flanked by 2 IA officers. Up close, her expression was complicated. Relief, anger, determination. Wallace, Morrison said quietly. When we found your badge and blood at that scene, I thought we'd lost one of the best. Nora's throat tightened. I'm sorry I didn't come to you sooner, Captain. I didn't know who to trust. Morrison's expression softened slightly. I understand why. This department has failed you. But we're going to make it right. She turned to Junsu. Lee, I don't like you. I don't like what you represent. But if what you're saying is true, you may have just exposed the biggest corruption scandal in this city's history. Junsu met her eyes evenly. It's true, every word, and it goes higher than just street cops taking payoffs. Morrison's jaw set. Then we'll take them all down. Together. A black SUV pulled up. FBI agents emerged, professional and no nonsense. Morrison briefed them quickly. They listened with increasingly grim expressions. One agent, a woman in her 40s named Torres, approached Junsu. Mr. Lee, we'll need your full cooperation. Everything you have. Recordings, documents, testimony. Junsu nodded. You'll get it. But I want guarantees. Protection for Detective Wallace, immunity from prosecution for crimes related to this investigation, and security until every corrupt official is in custody. Torres considered this. You're asking for a lot. I'm offering more, Junsu replied. 3 years of documented corruption, connections between organized crime and city officials, evidence that will reshape this entire city. Torres extended her hand. Deal, but Lee, if you're lying, if this is some kind of manipulation, I will personally ensure you spend the rest of your life in federal prison. Junsu shook her hand firmly. I'm not lying, because unlike the cops who tried to kill Detective Wallace, I actually want to see justice done. Taemin arrived 20 minutes later, breathing hard, carrying a manila envelope sealed with evidence tape. Boss? Got it. Nora took the envelope with trembling hands. This is everything. 3 years of work, bank statements, recordings, photographs of cash exchanges, documented meetings between cops and dealers, it's all here. Torres took the envelope carefully. We'll need time to verify this. Weeks of investigation, maybe months. Nora's voice was urgent. We don't have months. Mitchell isn't working alone. There are others, powerful people who will do anything to bury this. Torres's expression was grim. Then we work fast, and we protect our witnesses. She signaled to her team. Nora Wallace and Lee Jun-soo are under federal protection effective immediately. Nobody touches them without going through us. Mitchell screamed from where he was handcuffed. You're making a mistake. Lee is a criminal, a liar. You're protecting the enemy. Morrison walked over to Mitchell, her voice ice cold. No, Mitchell, we were the enemy. We took an oath to protect and serve, and we broke it for money, for power. We became the thing we were supposed to fight. She turned her back on him, disgusted. Take them away. Mitchell and his crew were loaded into transport vehicles, still shouting, still threatening, but their power was broken, their secrets exposed. As the vehicles drove away, Nora felt something she hadn't felt in 3 years. Hope. Real. Fragile. But there. She looked at Jun-soo standing beside her despite everything. A criminal who'd saved her life, who'd risked his empire to expose corruption, who'd proven that sometimes the lines between good and evil weren't as clear as badges and handcuffs. Thank you, Nora said quietly. For everything. Jun-soo's expression was unreadable. Don't thank me yet. This isn't over. The people at the top, the ones Mitchell was protecting, they're not going to let this go quietly. Nora nodded. I know. But now we have federal protection. Evidence. People who will listen. Jun-soo looked at the city skyline, lights glittering in the darkness. For the first time in years, he felt something other than cynicism. Maybe, just maybe, things could actually change. Maybe, Nora said, reading his thoughts. But it starts with us, with people willing to fight even when the system is broken. Jun-soo smiled grimly. Then I guess we're in for one hell of a fight. 3 weeks later, the city exploded, 15 cops arrested. 3 city councilmen indicted, 2 judges facing federal charges. A deputy mayor resigning in disgrace. The corruption scandal made national news. Headlines screaming about the black detective who survived assassination and the Korean Mafia boss who helped expose everything. Nora stood in Captain Morrison's office, now promoted to lieutenant. Her badge restored, her reputation rebuilt. Morrison looked at her with respect. You did good, Wallace. Damn good. Nora felt pride but also exhaustion. It's not over yet, Captain. There are still corrupt officers out there, still dealers operating, still work to do. Morrison nodded. Then get to work, Lieutenant. Nora left the office. Outside, Jun-soo was waiting, leaning against his car, looking dangerously out of place at a police station. They'd agreed to meet one last time to close this chapter. You came, Nora said, surprised. Jun-soo shrugged. Figured I owed you a proper goodbye. Nora studied him. So what now? You go back to your empire. Pretend none of this happened? Jun-soo was quiet. Then he said something unexpected. Actually, I'm retiring. Nora's eyes went wide. What? Jun-soo smiled without humor. Turns out exposing corruption is bad for business. My partners are nervous. My connections are severed. And honestly, I'm tired. Tired of the violence, the lies, the endless game. Nora didn't know what to say. So what will you do? Jun-soo looked at the sky. Something different. Something that doesn't involve bullets and betrayal. Maybe something that actually helps people, like you do. Nora's chest tightened. Lee. Jun-soo, he corrected. But you can call me by my real name, the one my sister used. Lee Sun-ho. Nora blinked. You've been using a different name this whole time? Sun-ho smiled. In my world, real names get you killed. But I figure if I'm starting over, I should start with the truth. Nora extended her hand. Then goodbye, Lee Sun-ho. And thank you for everything. Sun-ho shook her hand, then pulled her into an unexpected hug. Brief but genuine. Take care of yourself, Nora. Make this city worth saving. Nora watched him drive away, disappearing into traffic. A criminal who'd become an ally, an enemy who'd become a friend, a man who'd proven that redemption was possible, even in the darkest places. She turned back to the police station, her badge heavy on her chest. The city still broken but healing. One arrest at a time, one corrupt official exposed, one life saved. And somewhere across town, Lee Sun-ho sat in his empty office, looking at the empire he was dismantling, the businesses he was selling, the life he was leaving behind. His sister's photo sat on the desk, Minji smiling. Forever 17. Maybe I finally kept my promise, he whispered to her image. Maybe I finally made things right. Outside, the city continued. Corrupt officials being arrested, honest cops rising, a system slowly, painfully being rebuilt, and two people, a black detective and a Korean former mafia boss, had proven that sometimes justice doesn't come from the system. It comes from people brave enough to fight for it, regardless of which side of the law they stand on. If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe, share, and let others know these voices matter. Justice doesn't always come in expected forms. Sometimes it comes from the most unlikely heroes. Until next time, keep believing in redemption.